All right, welcome to our Pick the Brain podcast. I'm Dr. Caleb Frankel. I'm an ER veterinarian by trade and the founder of Instinct. We are starting this new project because over the years of building Instinct, we've been really fortunate to get to learn from, I would argue, some of the best hospital leaders in the field. And since they tend to self-select for Instinct tools, we thought we'd try something new, this podcast, where we're going to get to meet some of those great people and share some of the learnings on sort of all things hospital operations, leadership, ownership, industry trends, and of course, technology. And today we are lucky to have Andrea Miller on. Andrea got her start as a veterinary technician and one that has experience at the specialty ER level. So she has major street cred in my book. But for almost 10 years, Andrea, you've been a hospital leader. Now the assistant director of operations at the University of Florida's veterinary teaching hospitals, which is it's a pretty big job and pretty exciting. I got to meet Andrea way back, I think in 2018. I had to look this up. And I think, you guys kind of found Instinct. We didn't find you necessarily. And you pretty much demanded to be our first ever teaching hospital, if I remember correctly. Maybe when we weren't even ready. But, Instinct was a baby company then. And Andrea's group, her and several other innovators there, sort of jumped in. And I'll never forget that. And, I got to know you very well because we spent many days and nights emailing and phone calls just to make sure that we were serving the, hospital very well, which is, now, I can say one of the busiest hospitals in the world, definitely one of the busiest Instinct hospitals. So finally, I'll say this. I think you are one of the more sort of forward-thinking, innovative veterinary leaders out there, but also many people don't know you. I think you're a pioneer. You on behalf of many schools, because of you guys, over half the teaching hospitals have adopted Instinct, and you're kind of, you lead the way. And I'm going to ask you a little bit about some of that, but I know you do it with other tools. So thank you for what you do, and thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us today.
Yeah. So there's so much I could pick your brain on. You've launched satellite centers at a university level. You launched this amazing new, World Equestrian Center there. Which I know you had a ton to do with. But we're actually here to talk about AI scribing, one of the, I think more important tools that have been adopted in our space over the last few years. And specifically, I want to talk to you about how you use it in a teaching hospital environment. So from my research, I think still only a few teaching hospitals have really jumped in at the level that you guys have. And, I think on AI scribing, you may have even been the first teaching hospital. I'm not quite sure. But I would love to hear, first of all, how this all started, how you decided, to look at an AI scribe and adopt it at a massive, complex environment, and how it's gone, sort of now. I think you've been doing this over a year.
Yeah, absolutely. So how AI scribing came to the University of Florida Veterinary Hospitals is the University of Florida as a whole reached out to their colleges and really pushed us to try and think of the new thing, which is AI, and how we can implement that into our different colleges. And so with the veterinary hospitals, we started looking into AI scribe. And with that, what we really wanted to do was give time back to our clinicians and then see how we can better utilize the ability to be able to take a full conversation that could be from a couple minutes to a couple hours and have it restructured into a medical note instead of a clinician having to go back, talk to the students, and then take hours to transcribe that into the medical note before they could go home and be with their families. And so in doing that, we really were able to give more time back to the staff and then also help them start to make changes to what they want to do on the floor in their workflows.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you've been using scribing for over a year with ScribbleVet. How has it gone? Like, what's the impact been?
It has been huge, and it's been different in each service that you look at. So each service is going to utilize it a little bit differently. One surprising thing that we saw was the recognizing personal growth. And so since recordings are able to be saved for a period of time, we have seen clinicians or students go back and listen to some of their conversations. And it's a great way for them to be able to reflect, maybe recognize if a client misunderstood part of a treatment plan, and see how you could adjust the communication that you're having with that client for future, and then also with different clients too. We also are starting to utilize it a little bit more with training. So one of our areas is having team members that are new go back and review how they were communicating with the clients, maybe getting histories from them, and rethink how they could improve it. Maybe ask more open-ended questions, recognizing how they can gather information in a different manner. And our AI scribe will soon, hopefully, be incorporated with our student clinical skills lab. So that'll be really huge for the students to be able to start utilizing it before they even come onto the clinics. Our clinical skills lab is where our first and second year students are able to gain hands-on experience before they even step onto the clinic floors.
Yeah, I love that program that you do, and I know you use Instinct in it, which has been fun to see.
Yeah.
Okay, so one other thing that we've always tried to be really thoughtful about at Instinct is this careful balance in teaching environments of maybe let's call it the teaching mission versus efficiency and safety, because there's a little bit of conflict sometimes in those two. And we've heard this from a lot of the schools. So I want to ask you about this. The example for people who don't know, like our software program has patient safety warnings and calculators, for example, built into the end user experience. You can also look up Plum's drugs in there, and I don't know if you know this, but UF was the first one to use some of those features. But I remember talking to you in the early days. There was this sort of like, wait, should we build it so that the students don't have access to that because of potentially inhibiting learning? I think some of that comes up a little bit with AI scribing. Obviously, in the case of safety, for obvious reasons, we decided not to gate it, right? But I guess my second question is, with the use of ScribbleVet and tools like this, how you deploy them now, how are you sort of approaching this balance of learning and efficiency and all the benefits you just talked about at the University of Florida?
Yeah. So like any kind of AI, it is a tool and it's not a replacement. And so one of the things that we really try to push with our different services is making sure that, yes, we are using an AI scribe to either have communications with clients or have a communication with our students. So our students will go in and oftentimes start the conversation with the client, round with the clinician, and then go back in with the client to kind of follow up with that. And it's trying to teach the students how to use tools effectively and work smarter. And so we're not trying to take away the learning aspect of it, but it's how to be a little bit more efficient with your time and work smarter with that. So understanding how to leverage technology to both improve your efficiency, but also your patient care, which essentially is going to help with your work-life balance.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Okay, my next question is a little bit more general, but UF, like I mentioned, has always seemed to be piloting new innovation, not afraid to try things that to make their hospital better and a better experience for the clients. I've always been impressed by that coming from you and people like Bobby Lee that you work with. But so my question is, what tips do you have for other academic environments to sort of like adopt that mindset or get buy-in maybe from so many stakeholders at a university? It's not that you have people trying to slow things down, it's just big and complex and there's a lot on the line. So how do you think about that with new tools, or can you provide any tips to others who are trying to move in that direction?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think at least at UF veterinary hospitals, we are in a really great place that we are always trying to look for the next best thing for our staff, for our clients, and for our patients. And so we have a lot of people on our team that are always trying to do better for the hospital. But the one thing that we always try to push is that implementing a new tool is only the first step. It's the follow-up and the support and the education of both on the floor and then also to the clients.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, I think those are all, it's harder than you think. I mean, I think you have a hard time answering that because you just have it in your DNA there and you guys have done it.
Yeah, we just have a really great team that is always trying to strive to look for the new best thing.
Yeah. That's cool. Okay, my last question for you today is for anybody listening at a large academic, or private practice teaching environment. There's hundreds of, internship and residency centers out
Mhm.
there. What advice would you give them if they have not started using AI scribing in terms of just getting started?
Look into it. Like that is 100% the thing that I would say. You really need to look into AI scribing. It is giving time back to your clinicians, to your staff. It is allowing them to actually do what they love to do, which is be with the patients and which is to educate the clients, not do paperwork. You can use it in so many different aspects of the hospital. So like I had said before, just being able to go back and self reflect and learn on your own is one thing that we didn't even think of when we were
Hmm.
starting to implement this. But then also, we have other areas of our hospital that have really embraced it. So, diagnostic imaging. In one of our clinics, one of the radiologists, when they're doing their ultrasounds, throughout the whole entire thing, they're using their AI scribe. And so, either in between the patients, they are able to review and post those
Hmm.
reports, or at the end of the day, they can do all of them at once and
Hmm.
then leave for the day and not have to worry about it. So, the turnaround time on our reports going out. We also have started having our diagnostic imaging lab start using it too. And that, again, was not something that we originally thought was going to be embracing this new thing, and they actually are. Originally, we came out thinking it was going to be communicating in the exam rooms and working with the students, and it really has been embraced by the whole entire hospital.
That's amazing. Well, that's super helpful, and thank you for being on. I always wrap up with two questions here, so I'll give them to you. So the first one is, it's kind of cool for you because you've definitely made the journey from, veterinary technician to serious hospital and industry leader. So what's one leadership lesson you learned, maybe the hard, way that's cost you guys or you time or money? I sort of call this 2x4 advice. Maybe helping other technicians turned leaders, with their journey. What's one leadership lesson you can share?
I would say one leadership lesson that I have learned is change is good, depending on how you are able to find tools that are going to be able to help your
Mm.
hospital, your service. And implementing a new tool is only the first step. It
Mm.
is then onboarding and the ongoing support. And so if you don't have that follow up and that follow through of being able to support your team, then your new implementations like AI Scribe are going to go underutilized. And
Mm.
so I was for AI Scribe, which we use ScribbleVet, I was very surprised at how long it took for our hospitals to actually embrace it. Everyone is busy, and it was really hard for them to be able to take time away from their busy schedule to learn something new and see how it was going to be able to benefit them. But
Yeah.
we have a great support team here, and they were able to go out on the floor and work with them and put together some mock demonstrations of it. And it that is was that was the key of being able to get them to actually be able to utilize it and get time back.
Amazing. Okay, last question then. What is one underrated tool or feature or process at the University of Florida's teaching hospital that if you took it away, your team would, basically riot, besides AI scribing and besides instinct, of course?
Yeah. I would say it would be really hard for us to be able to work without our client communication platform.
Mm.
What we currently use is Auto. So on the front end side, with all of our on our client side, it's made it instrumental for checking patients in, decreasing the amount of pre uh, check-in process. So we're able to have the clients through text messages confirm appointments, reschedule appointments, complete and sign all the documentation that they need. On the hospital side, it's been really impactful. Through text, clients are able to be updated throughout the whole entire appointment. They don't have to answer the phone anymore. We don't have to pull them away from their busy work schedule. We can just give them updates. They can respond in the timely manner that they have available to them while they're at work. And then also consistency in client communication. So, since we're a teaching hospital and we're open 24/7, we often have to hand our cases off to new care teams. And so, being able to have one communication for that client and then hand off to different people within the hospital and make it seamless on the client aspect has been huge.
Amazing. Well, that's it. Thanks for being on Pick the Brain.
Thank you so much for having me.